The New York Times opinion piece titled The Seduction of Lindsey Graham just came out, and it's a story that pulls back the curtain on a longtime South Carolina senator's dramatic pivot. Lindsey Graham's death was announced Saturday night, and the piece argues that he was a Republican who initially warned about Donald Trump in a way few would have imagined. In 2015, when Trump crashed the political arena and slid down an escalator to take over the GOP, Graham was one of the first to alarm. He called Trump a race-baiting, speeding. Review of the article shows vowel shapes in thread of drive time. Trump, Graham said, is a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. Later he went further. He called Trump shallow, ill-prepared to be commander-in-chief, someone who doesn't know the law. After the nomination, he even said he would not support Trump in November, making it clear he would rather back Rand Paul or Ted Cruz. For Graham, the moment was clear: Trump was a threat to democracy. The article then tells us the tide turned when Trump won. Graham's calculations changed. While his skepticism about Trump remained, he was still a loyal party member, and as a senator from a conservative great egg in the South, the success of the 8th Governor Cameron gave him the incentive to make the political cost of staying true to his initial stance, / he could have left office, out of influence, forced out by the new radical base. But that would mean a long career. He had power in the Senate, a chair to maneuver the Supreme Court votes, and the ability to shape policy. He had only one choice: bend. The piece calls it a seduction. Graham turned on 4 months after the dark contribution. The article outlines specific moments where his shift is clear. When Trump asked for an advocate, Graham answered. When the president needed a bridge to Senate Democrats for a bill, he built the bridge. When Trump was hearing a Supreme Court nominee, the case of Brett Kavanaugh, Graham acted as a vocal shootout. He told the accuser Christine Blasey Ford that the president had enforced a strategy of attack and was ready for the next steps. In short, while he had called Trump out over his early statements, later he remade himself connection as president's staunchest ally in the Senate and most powerful soldier in Washington. The article goes through the subtle and vivid story of a politician choosing his career over his stated values, and it questions whether the choice was a betrayal or a survival. It doesn't memorialize him or praise his oligarchic function in the Senate. Instead, the piece says, Graham's choice defines his legacy, and it marks the moment his modern career has a new slant. The New York Times concludes with an uneasy reminder that loyalty can be both a power tool and a weakness. In quieter tones, the piece leaves the audience to consider what is owed to a senator who has counted his shares of power on the sides of an ideologically volatile figure. Fans of the latest political debates in history that tinged with bitterness or worry chronicle the cycle of how the country defined itself during this presidency. Thank you for listening to this reflection on the life of a senator who the article names and looks at Thiko the Shidshwed. Thank you for listening, and feel free to share your thoughts on the recording of Wastes. This has been a comment on my series and a polite introspection. We'll catch up next week for a deeper look at the first rounds of prononial ventured unity and faiths. Until then, stay engaged and keep looking at what connects to the great conversation of this politics.